My name is Jane Winn. I teach at the University of Washington Law School in Seattle, and I received a Cross-Strait Fulbright for 2016-2017. I'll be in National Tsinghua University in Hsinchu, Taiwan in the autumn, and I'll be at Guanghua Law School, Zhe-jiang University in Hangzhou, China in the spring. I study how the financial market in Greater China are being integrated. So I'm interested in both the technology of financial services and the regulatory framework of financial services. So far, I've discovered that the technology integration of financial services in Greater China appears to be working fairly well, but in terms of strategy, there's a big difference between the Taiwan strategy, the Hong Kong strategy, and the China strategy. So there isn't a shared vision for financial services. In Chinese, there's a chengyu, tong chuang yi meng, which means same bed, different dreams. So it's possible to send electronic fund transfers from Taiwan to China and Taiwan to Hong Kong, and to connect the different financial institutions with technology. Taiwan's dominant strategy for financial services is to retain its autonomy. Hong Kong's dominant strategy for financial services is to be a global financial center. And China's dominant strategy is the internationalization of the renminbi, to establish the renminbi as a reserve currency. So those three different strategies don't relate to each other. So the shared technology infrastructure doesn't achieve unification because the strategic direction is different. While I was at National Tsinghua University, I taught a seminar on the regulation of financial technology, and each student wrote a short research paper on a recent development. So I had 18 students, and I learned about 18 recent developments. So I shared with them my knowledge of the regulation of financial technology, and they shared with me their knowledge of recent developments. I was very fortunate that my former PhD student from the University of Washington Law School is now teaching law at National Jiaotong University, which is next door to Tsinghua. And so because we were able to connect here in Taiwan, we have made arrangements for me to come back every year and teach a short course at the law school at National Jiaotong University. So I look forward to returning to Taiwan every year. So I have to say, I haven't encountered a single major roadblock. I was able to obtain my residency certificate. I was able to receive healthcare through the new national healthcare system. I was able to buy anything that I needed in any of the stores. I was able to use public transportation to get everywhere that I needed. When I lived in Taiwan 30 years ago, I lived in an old Japanese house. Even 30 years ago, there were very few old Japanese houses left. And I showed the photograph of the old Japanese house to someone. And it was one of my students in Taiwan, and he said, I used to live in a Japanese house. He said, I didn't like it because there were rats. And I said, well, there were rats when I lived in the Japanese house too. I just didn't think it was a problem. So what I've learned is that the economic integration in terms of manufacturing and supply chains has proceeded very well. The integration of financial services is much more complex and much more sensitive. And so the progress is much slower. And by studying the incentives for integration and the barriers to integration, it gives me a very useful perspective on the complex relationship between China and Taiwan. So I feel that, yes, when I finish my Cross-Strait Fulbright, I will have a much deeper and better understanding of the dynamics of the Greater China economic ecosystem.